welcome to our week 2 episode of Big Blue Avenue. It is time for therapy, folks. I'm Tom Scavetta, joined alongside Sam Cardona. Sam, how are you doing? And I already regret asking you that because I know the answer, but let's chat here, why don't we?
Physically, I'm fine. Mentally and emotionally, I am not fine. I think that we had a lot of confidence and hope going into that Sunday night game. And my God, there was not an ounce of hope anywhere. Within the first 30 seconds there was hope. And then after that, it was just not great. Not great.
No, not good at all. Before we get into this, folks, quick reminder, if you like Sam and I talking New York Football Giants, we are on several different platforms, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at Big Blue Avenue. Appreciate all of your support. And let's get into the meat of the show here tonight. Folks, if you have any questions, comments, thoughts on anything, week 1, week 2, the season, whatever it may be, feel free to ask. We're here to help you out, try to get over this terrifying loss. It wasn't even just a loss. It was an obliteration. That's what it was. This might have been the worst loss in 40 years this franchise has suffered.
Just the fact that we're the only team in the entire league right now that hasn't put any points on the board, it's a little sad.
It's so bad. I don't really know what to say, what to make people feel better about. But what I will say is this is the first time the Giants have been shut out in 5 years. Worst offensive line performance in 2 decades. Let's be real here, Sam. Dallas had 7 sacks, but it might as well have been 20. Jones was hit 12 times on 35 passing plays, so he was either hit or sacked on 54% of his passes, and that is not a recipe for success, especially against a team like Dallas.
Yeah. Just the fact that this is one of the more embarrassing parts is the fact that Micah Parsons, who has a podcast now with some sort of something or other, basically came out and was like, I was expecting this line to be blocking me a lot more, but I was hitting Daniel Jones like nobody's business. They really need to be protecting their guy more. And I'm like, how embarrassing is it that the linebacker on the other team has to tell us that we have to protect our quarterback because he touched him too many times? That's just embarrassing. So I'm just upset about it.
Mm-hmm. And it doesn't include normal pressures or plays he had to scramble. Jones was pressured on 2 out of every 3 snaps, most in the NFL, 13.5% more than any other quarterback. I remind people, let's talk about the offensive line. Mark Lewinsky had a PFF grade of 1. 1.0. Let's talk about him.
Oh, my God.
Sam, you were out Sunday night. Talk to me. What's going through your mind watching Mark Lewinsky play football?
First of all, being out at a bar during this game was the least fun I've ever had out in my life. People were just booing. And then and everybody's wearing Giants jerseys. And the thing was, too, the bartender was wearing a Cowboys jersey. And I was like, wow, that's bold of him to be doing right now. And the whole time he's like, woohoo, I'm doing great, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, God, but Mark Lewinsky, dude, did you even try? Did you even practice? Literally, it seemed like he had never played a snap of football a day in his life, which we obviously know is not true. Talk about Swiss cheese. There wasn't even any cheese. If he didn't play, it wouldn't have made a difference. It wouldn't have made a difference.
And there's plenty of more guys to talk about than just Mark Lewinsky, but I want to spend a few minutes on this guy. 2015 day 3 pick out of West Virginia, played with Seattle, played with the Colts. He was part of the best offensive line in the National Football League in 2018. Mark Lewinsky was good at one point. He was good with the Colts. That's why Joe Schoen gave him a 3-year contract. But at 31 years old, I think we have to ask this question. And it's very sad to ask because 9 pressures, horrible. 1 quarterback hit, 3 sacks allowed. Now, granted, Evan Neal was bad too. John Michael Schmitz had the bad snap on that first drive. Again, weather might have played a factor into that, but I don't want to use that as an excuse. Does Mark Lewinsky need to be replaced? And if so, when? And this question isn't just for you, Sam. This is for everybody. But I'll start with your thoughts here on this because I know you're very passionate about this one.
I know that I texted you earlier this week because I saw that the Bengals had released Collins, who is obviously somebody who we are familiar with. And I was like, I don't even care. Drop Lewinsky, bring in La'el Collins. Like I was like, it was like immediate reaction. Personally, I'm interested to see how he's going to play on Sunday against a quote unquote lower tiered team of the Cardinals. Because, like, if we have another game looking like that against a team like the Cardinals, then we're in huge trouble and we're in a lot more of a hole than we thought we were. And at that point, like 2 weeks in, the fact that we already have to start making changes, not good. So I personally, right now, in this moment in time, and me being emotional and heated, yes, I think he needs to be replaced. If he puts on a better performance next week, sure, it'll be reconsidered. But at this moment in time, I don't even want to see him out on the field again.
Well, the bad news about that is he will start on Sunday at right guard. The good news is we're playing the Cardinals, who don't have they have a solid pass rush, believe it or not, even without Isaiah there anymore, but it's not as good as Dallas. It's not even close. It doesn't compare. Does Mark Lewinsky need to be replaced? My answer to this question is yes, but right now with Andrew Thomas hurt, I don't think you could ill afford to bench him because his replacement might be starting at left tackle on Sunday against Arizona, and that's Josh Azudu, who I'm not too high on either. But right now, a 23-year-old Josh Azudu can't be worse than a 31-year-old Mark Lewinsky, who had the worst game of his professional career and possibly ever. However, I will say this. People have gone a little bit too far about this. They commented on one of his Instagram photos saying they would not like him to protect them if they were hunting because he would not be able to protect them well. For those of you folks who don't know, Mark Lewinsky likes to hunt. That's one of his hobbies when he's not playing football. That's what he likes to do. He's an outdoors guy. Well, folks, as much as we despise Mark Lewinsky's performance as the football player on Sunday, this was not appropriate. I just want to call that out. This is way too far. The Giants' social media is so darn toxic.
Incredible.
I mean, if you want him benched, fine. We all want him benched. I mean, I don't think there's many people that don't at this point. But, yeah, don't go after him personally. It's not appropriate. He's trying. He's just not good. That's the reality of the situation.
Yeah. At the end of the day, there's no reason to be commenting on a picture that you said posted like 5 years ago.
Yeah, he hasn't posted in like a year. So.
Oh, okay. But still,
there
like,
you go.
It's a little excessive. And you're right. New York Giants specifically, social media is just like the worst. I hate being on Giants Twitter and Giants Instagram.
Absolutely. It's definitely a toxic world and culture out there. What's up, Tudo? Massive salutes and respects to Tommy and Sam. It was the powder cheese, the Parmesan cheese. I see where he's going there. Okay. I like that, Tudo. Larry Johnson. Hey, Larry, congrats on the win. All right?
Yeah.
You got us. This is a humbling, humiliating moment, but I will say this. We will see you again this season, probably to lose again, but we won't lose by 40 points this time. I can guarantee you that.
I'd like to think that we'll put up points next time we play the Cowboys.
Yes, I'd like to think we'll lose by single digits hopefully next time around. But
Hopefully.
next up, Evan Neal. Is he an NFL offensive tackle? I say it's too soon to make that call, but right now I'm trending towards no. I mean, he has to improve quickly. Sam, 8 pressures, 1 sack allowed. Bad.
Yeah, incredibly bad. And we obviously were very high on Neil coming into. I mean, the entire NFL was high on Neil coming into the draft. It's not like he was like some 7th round pick that we got later on. Like, no, he was a 1st round pick that a lot of people had their eyes on. And the fact that Evan Neal, like, we saw him starting to struggle last year. And going into this year, I was anticipating, I don't know if my hopes were just too high or my expectations are too high, but I was expecting to see a much better performance out of him. I mean, yes, granted, we're over exaggerating on NFL week 1, but I was anticipating him to be a whole lot better. And even you've said it in the past, like, he needs to lose weight, he needs to be fitter, he needs to be that corner on the line, and right now he's not doing it. And I mean, he was amazing at Alabama, but being in New York, it's I don't know, no, something's not clicking, and I'm not sure what it is, but there's something missing here.
No, absolutely. I think he might be better suited off as a guard, but I want to give him the chance the rest of this season to prove that he's a tackle, because right now Andrew Thomas is hurt. We really shouldn't even be having this conversation yet about him switching positions, but it's fair to ask the question based off his performances. It is fair. But if there's a switch, Sam, I think it'll happen during the offseason. That's not something they could do to this kid mid-season. But 6'7" is awfully tall for a guard. I will say that. So, although we have seen tall players do it in the past.
Right.
Let's evaluate DJ and the offense. So, I don't know about you, Sam. First drive is going good. Barkley's running the ball. Jones is running the ball. All right, he's under some pressure. He's not getting like 10, 20-yard throws down the field, but they're moving the football. That's all you can ask. And then the false start by Andrew Thomas, which is very uncharacteristic of him, leads to the bad snap on John Michael Schmitz. And for those of you folks bashing the dead ball snap, he doesn't dead ball snap when Jones goes under center. He only does dead ball snap when he's in the shotgun formation. And basically, folks, that is the bottom of the nose of the football is dead on the ground, right? He doesn't do that when Jones is right under him. There's no reason to. It was a bad play. Yes. Was weather involved? Maybe. Probably. There was more good than bad, I thought, for John Michael Schmitz. I thought he was fine. I don't think he was the big issue at all, Sam. I think, Glowinski and Neal really shat the bed, and Thomas was playing hurt, which really affected Big Blue's offense altogether last night, and it led to this atrocious performance. But your thoughts on JMS's first career start?
Listen, that was your first start in the NFL, and if it's not raining, I know we were saying we're not giving the weather excuse, but if it's not raining, there's a very high possibility that that's not happening, that he's, worked this entire offseason making sure something like that doesn't happen. And I'm sure he was nervous and it happens, but I think that, it's the first game for a rookie. We got to work with him a little bit here. I'm sure it'll periodically get better, especially, with the improvements that not that I hope we're going to make, that we will be making, because if we don't, it's not good. The improvements that we will be making as a team as a whole, but specifically on the line, that I'm not worried about John Michael Schmitz. I feel like it's nerves, it's weather, it's a lot of different. You have freaking Micah Parsons coming at you. I know you're a big guy, but it's not an easy thing to do. So I'm not worried about him. And in terms of DJ, and I know you'll agree with me when I say this, like, I know that he had some tough things this game, but like, this is not all of his fault. It really isn't. And we will always defend Daniel Jones unless he really does something terrible. But at the end of the day, with the line that he has, he can't do what he needs to do, because DJ needs time, and he was not granted any time at all on Sunday.
every quarterback needs time too. I mean, look, week 1, Patrick Mahomes, his receivers weren't doing well. He had an offensive lineman that false started on every single play. Joe Burrow threw for 82 yards. I know he was hurt, but it's just crazy how Daniel Jones gets all this crap. And I'll be the first to say it. Daniel Jones had a bad game Sunday, but so did the rest of the football team. Okay?
Correct.
That pick 6, right, to Barkley, that's not on Jones. That was a good play by Dallas. Barkley couldn't hold on to the ball. The ball goes flying, and they return it for a touchdown. The pick to Stephon Gilmore, that's on him. But from DJ's perspective, at that point, Giants are down big, probably 20-0, 26-0. I forget what it was. He's trying to force the ball down the field. And he's probably just, Sam, I'll be honest with you. I think his mindset is, screw it. Let me just try to make a play and try to yak it in there. And that's why the pick happened.
My Bills pennant just fell down.
Oh, man. What a week it's been.
I did go through a bit of I went through like a fit of rage yesterday while I was filming my other podcast, Unsolicited, with our resident Eagles fan, Sporty Jordy, and I ripped down my pennants, and now they won't stick anymore.
Yeah, you know what? I would like to see that live, and I'm sure the folks would too. Let's plug that, Sam. Where can people see you ripping down the Giants and the Bills flag pennants?
Yeah, if you guys are interested in listening to me talk some more football, we also talk about some pop culture things and other things going on in the world. You can check out Unsolicited Podcast with Sam and Jordan, hosted by me and Sporty Jordy. Yeah, we're on YouTube and podcasting platforms at the Unsolicited Podcast. And you can follow us at the Unsolicited_podcast everywhere. So it's it was a fun time. Jordan really she was a little concerned for me, but I needed to get it out, and I put them back up because I'm not going to just bail out on my team on week 1, but I needed to get a little bit of rage out because I was incredibly angry.
Oh, absolutely. I don't blame you. And I don't blame Noah for posting this. A fitting representation of the Bills losing to Zachary.
Hey, maybe that's a sign. Maybe like the Giants are still standing, but the Bills fell. We're bringing this clip back if that's true.
Yeah, Dallas owns the Giants. It's hard to go against the Giants week 1. The team improved talent-wise. A lot of people are saying they bridged the gap against Dallas. Yeah, it's a learning curve. We were wrong, but I mean, I don't think fans were wrong to think that the Giants had a shot to win that game based off of what happened last year, the off season.
I know a lot of people who thought the Giants were going to win on Sunday. Because it was not a crazy thought at the time.
No, it wasn't a crazy thought, but we were wrong. It just, I agree. I don't think it was a crazy thought at all. Now it seems like a crazy thought, but again, and this is where I think the NFL games are won and lost on things like this, right? The weather is horrible. The field goal gets blocked, poor assignment protection. They return it for a touchdown, right? If that play doesn't happen, if the play before, the John Michael Schmitz play doesn't happen, the whole trajectory of the game could have been changed. I'm not saying we would have won. I doubt we would have won, but the game would have been much closer than 40-0. Dak wasn't exposed enough. He wasn't exposed to potentially making mistakes. Like Brian Attard said last week, Dallas's offense was off the field for majority of this game, quite frankly. And they had a short field several times. The Giants' defense did not look bad at all. They had some bad plays, but there was more good than bad from their defense. Bobby Okereke had a forced fumble. The bad for the defense, Sam, I thought there was no pass rush. Thibodeau and Ojulari were non-existent. And then Dexter Lawrence was really the only one that stood out on the defensive front. So there's that.
For sure.
And then another thing I wanted to mention, Darren Waller.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
that hamstring is going to. You could tell he wasn't 100%. You can just tell. He had 3
and
catches for 36 yards.
And it's not even like a traditional hamstring. It has to do with his nerves, which is like
Mhm.
really scary to think about. It's not just a muscle thing that can be rehabbed in any way. Like it seems not great. I mean, I'm sure it'll fix. I don't know how it works. I don't know how it works. But yeah, he did not
Yeah,
look
I'll be honest.
like the person I was anticipating him to be as well.
I'm with you. I don't know how these hamstring injuries work either. I would love to tell you and say he's going to be fine the rest of the season, but I can't guarantee you that. In fact, I probably predict that he's going to miss some time this season or games, if he gets banged up a little bit. But he led all Giants receivers in receiving. Um, I mean,
With
only
36
5 of
yards.
15. Yeah, only 36 yards and only 5 completions were to wide receivers. Only 5. Not
Well,
good.
I just pulled up a quick article just to see, where we were at with that. And apparently he doesn't seem very concerned about it at all. Um, he said, "Nah, I'm playing on Sunday." They asked him if they were going to be concerned about it moving forward. He said, "No, not really." So I don't know if he's just saying that for the media, but sounds like it's not a huge concern.
Yeah. Um, I don't know. I'll have to see what happens, but I do appreciate Waller's confidence. Again, special teams was bad. The Lamb 49-yard catch, that was just a freakish miscommunication between Adoree and McKinney. The Cowboys had 3 rushing touchdowns. Daniel Jones threw his first pick 6 of his career, and it wasn't even his fault. That's how funny that is. Um, how goes it, Daniel Bakley? Well,
It's going.
uh, it is going. I hope your team has the best of luck tonight. Philadelphia. Not really, but appreciate the comment. At
Not
least you
really.
have Notre Dame. Oh, boy. James Montefusco. What's up, James? Can you guarantee that we
Hey.
score on Sunday? Yes, we will score on Sunday. I guarantee it.
I love that confidence. I love that confidence.
Yeah. I like
We need
Barkley to
it.
score. I like Barkley to score. I like
I'd
Hodgins
like
or
Graham
Bellinger
Gano to
to
kick a
score.
field goal.
Graham Gano. Yeah. What do you know? Luckily, you play the worst team in the NFL week 2. Yeah, I agree, Noah. I agree. Otherwise, I would have us losing to most other teams. Comment here from Robert. Robert, appreciate you commenting. This coaching is stupid like Buffalo. We have a great running back in Barkley. Run the damn ball all day until this O-line learns how to pass block, if ever. Tudo comistai. Hope I said that right. Yeah, Robert and Tudo are buddies. Got the Paisan syndrome. Look, I don't think Dable is stupid, and we'll get to him next. That'll be the last part of week 1, I promise, folks. You really have to break this down. Kafka was stupid, in my opinion. As far as not giving Barkley the ball, Kafka's the one calling the plays. Yes, Dable's the head coach, and he's signing off on all this, but yeah, they should have ran the football. They should have ran. They can't pass protect. And for all the Daniel Jones haters out there, this is exactly what I was saying last season. Why are the Giants running the football a lot and not throwing? It's not because they don't trust Daniel Jones.
It's so
They don't
annoying.
trust the 5 guys in front of him. Well, 4, I should say, except for Andrew Thomas. So what else should I say? This is a great point, Robert. I appreciate you bringing this up. Thomas McGaughey stinks. I mean, for some reason, Gary Brightwell's still on the roster. Don't even get me started with him. Shane Lemieux was a healthy scratch. He should be dressed next week, ready to go. Maybe he should replace Glowinski.
Why not? Why not?
I don't know. I thought we were the worst team, though. Yeah. At least you were honest. Yeah, I mean, it's all right, Daniel. I don't like you guys. You don't like us, but I respect you guys. I respect you.
Yeah, for sure.
Sam, we do have some tea.
Yeah.
before we preview the Week 2 game. There's two
Jeez.
topics. The first one I'm sure you know about. The Kadarius Toney comments, bad week for him. 3 drops, 1 catch for maybe a yard. Deletes social media, comes back and says a couple comments about Giants fans. Do we live rent-free in his head, and why?
100%. 100%. And I think it's just because he was anticipating something else going into New York for whatever reason. He's probably also has a huge ego because he went in the first round of the draft where he 100% didn't need to go. Like, you are not a first round talent. You just happen to be picking the first round because Gettleman chose you then.
We're stupid. I'm stupid for celebrating that pick while everyone else was like, what the hell?
I mean, you're not stupid for it. He is a good wide receiver. He's a good wide receiver, but his attitude is just horrible. And like the fact that if you came out and on Thursday night and you like dominated the field and then this happened and then he said all those things, I obviously still wouldn't have liked it, but we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. You had 3 drops from one of the best quarterbacks in the league, if not the best quarterback in the league, which we'll say he's the best quarterback in the league. Like, you don't have the right, you have the audacity to say things like that. And I just dislike him so much.
Yeah. Look, I don't hate anybody, but I strongly dislike him as a person off the field. I personally dislike Kadarius Toney, and I'm not afraid to admit that. If he's watching right now, you know what? I'd say it to his face. I would say it to his face. Look, the other thing I wanna mention, and this wasn't as big of a deal. Obviously, Michael Kay, voice of the New York Yankees TV, play-by-play, respectable gentleman, but he's done some questionable things this week in his comments towards Brian Daboll, saying that he threw a rager the night before the Giants got smashed by Dallas 40-0. And it turns out they had a small gathering / party for Daboll's son's 6-year-old birthday. It was his son's 6th birthday party.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, Kay crossed the line. What do you think, Sam? I mean, this is just a bad look. This is another example of media professionals not doing their proper research and fact-checking things.
Yeah, it's really that I love Michael Kay. Like, as a Yankee fan too. He's been around forever. He's the voice of the Yankees in my lifetime. And seeing this it made me like, come on, Michael, like, you know better than that. You're more of a professional to look into something before you start, excuse my French, talking shit about it. I was surprised because it's not a thing that Michael Kay will do very often. We did talk about this earlier this week. He did apologize on air, say like, yes, I should have done more research. I should have done this. I should have done that. So you should have, but you didn't. And then a bunch of people definitely heard what you said and then didn't hear the fact that it's not true. So there are people probably walking around right now thinking Brian Daboll threw a rager the night before. Like, who's to say that they find the correct information there? So it's not good. I mean, spreading misinformation especially on a big platform like that, it's never good. So not a fan of that.
No, but at least he did somewhat own it. He admitted he made a mistake. He apologized. But like you said, there's definitely more negative than good that comes out of that. All right, let's wrap week 1 up. Our week 1 key takeaways, Sam. I thought the rookies looked good at corner. I know Banks left early with an injury, which I totally missed because the team was just so bad. I know we had that one PI, and Hawkins had a penalty too, but they held their own against great receivers and Cooks and Lamb and Gallup. Gallup had just one catch. Micah McFadden too. In pass coverage, he's very underrated in my opinion. He was going up against Jake Ferguson, and McFadden led the team in tackles. He had 11. He had 1 tackle for loss. And it's not just like he was getting beaten coverage and making tackles off of that. He was stopping the run. He was throwing his body on the line. He learned a lot from Bobby O this offseason, who had an okay game himself. So, yeah, there were some positives to talk about here defensively that I think we can carry over into Arizona this Sunday.
For sure. Whether or not we're able to offensively do what we need to do between the line, between us struggling just in passing in general, I always feel like we can rely on our defense for a better game. Um, I think that they did what they needed to do, and while it wasn't the best defensive game we've ever had, like I feel like it, for all we know, if it wasn't a good game, they could have beaten us 60-0. I mean, not to say 40 points isn't a lot of points, because it is. But defense for us, especially the rookies starting out in their first game, it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, I do agree. Leonard Williams was non-existent, though.
Yeah.
Highest paid player this season, that is. Not on the roster, but this season, Big Cat, highest paid. Didn't do much. Key take, get back on track. That was a fluke game for him. Oh, and Bobby Johnson has to get fired. We're talking about the players. Well, the coach is just as guilty as the players. I mean, this was, in my opinion, they hired him because he coached in Buffalo. They need to get somebody new, Sam. He is not cutting it for me. He's got to go. I mean, Glowinski and Neal should not. This development for Evan Neal should not be this slow and concerning. Yeah. And Glowinski should not be this bad either. I think the coaching is seriously a problem that's causing these players to look worse than what they actually are. By no means am I saying Glow is good. I'm not. But, I mean, to look like the worst guard at your position in the NFL, to have a tackle that was picked number 7 overall, who looks like he was picked 177? No. Bobby Johnson got to go.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been the advocate for when Shane and Dable showed up. I was like, yeah, just bring the whole Buffalo Bills down here.
Might as well.
I you know me. I mean, the pennant's gone, but I love the Bills. But I agree, it just doesn't work here. It's not working here. So this is not the place for him. And I agree. Evan, like I said, I expected Evan Neal to be so much better this year, and I'm not seeing that yet, which is so surprising because after your first year in the league, coming into your sophomore year, you should be at least 25% better than what you were before. And in fact, it looks kind of like he got worse somehow. So I don't know.
It's almost like he's unprepared every week. But we know that's not fully the case. Even an Eagles fan agrees that Kadarius Toney should just keep his mouth quiet. Yeah, thank you. Brian Attard, what's up, BA? Sam passive-aggressively showing her anger with the team by not wearing any gear tonight.
Brian, I'm glad you said that because it's 100% true. I purposely didn't wear any Giants gear tonight. I went with a very neutral color because that's how mad I am. So you hit the nail on the head there.
If I can be honest for a second, that thought also crossed my mind. But I thought, I don't know. I had a feeling you might do it, so I don't want to do it too.
I have the stuff, so it's still here after I ripped it down, but I put it back. But yeah, going into today, I was like, you know what? They don't deserve my Giants t-shirt today. I'm not wearing it. So
we still love the New York Giants.
We do.
We still love the Giants. It's never going to change. We're in it through and through. But
I'm just so angry.
I don't blame you. I'm wearing Victor Cruz. It's not like I'm wearing any, current players.
I mean, I have Victor on my water bottle.
That's right.
So Tom gave me this sticker.
I did. That was a little that was a little gift there, and folks want to quickly remind everybody that tonight is the 12-year anniversary of review and preview the show. So appreciate you all tuning in and celebrating with us as well. Just got a reminder from James to plug that, so I am plugging it. September 14th, 2011. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. So happy it's gotten to 12 years and hopefully many more. I think it's my seventh year. Holy crap. Yeah,
Wow.
7 for me. So part of this brand, this lovely brand. So appreciate all the support and all the comments tonight. Kevin, what's up, Kevin? I agree. I expect them more from the Giants defense and offense on Sunday. Tony needs to be focusing on catching football. So yeah. Yep.
For sure.
Happy 12 years. Thank you, Daniel. Let's get to our player of the week. I'm done with this game. I'm sure you are as well, Sam.
Yes. Let's move on.
Dexter Lawrence is our player of the week.
He sure is.
Best of the worst. Break it down for us, please.
So, yes, Sexy Dexy. We went back and forth for a little bit about who we wanted to have as our player of the week. I'm pretty sure Tom mentioned Jamie Gillen at one point on Sunday because that's how many players we actually were considering. But Dexter Lawrence, 82.1 PFF grade last week, and he was the highest graded New York Giants defensive player. And he had 4 tackles and 2 quarterback hits last week. He played 37 snaps, 16 run defense, 21 pass rush, and the big Pollard run came after he wasn't on the field anymore. So that wasn't his fault. But overall, in a very, very tough week 1 loss, Dexter Lawrence was our shining light.
There you have it, folks. Thank you very much for that, Sam. He was one of the better players. Week 2, Amani Oruwariye had a scary incident in practice yesterday. He is okay. Glad to hear that. Similar situation to Tommy Sweeney, unfortunately. Tommy Sweeney is still recovering on the non-football injury list, for those of you who were wondering. Giants worked out former Bills and Raiders kick returner Andre Roberts and former Ravens receiver James Prochet. Giants did not bring in any offensive linemen for workouts this week. Bummer. Although that could change. Week 2.
Oh, boy.
I think the only bright part about tonight, Sam, is we get to play the worst team on paper in the NFL this week.
I mean, I agree on paper, worst team, but I got to give Josh Dobbs a lot of credit. I mean, first of all, Kyler Murray has lost all of my respect, to be honest with you. I did like him in the beginning, but I'm really he's just so annoying now. But Josh Dobbs, did what he needed to do for the Cardinals. You know, he's not the best quarterback ever, but he did what he needed to do. And I talked about this on Unsolicited with Jordan. I should not be scared to be going into the guaranteed win game that we had over the offseason, being nervous about whether or not we're going to win this game. Because I am.
Oh, so you're that nervous we might not win.
Yeah.
I don't blame you one bit. I don't.
I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Just if there were just a shred of anything good that happened on Sunday, like that first 30 seconds of the game, I'd be like, okay. I mean, so maybe. But at this point, right now, I hate to doubt them, but until I actually see it, I can't.
They have to be
confident.
Basically earn Sam's respect back.
Basically.
Right now, it seems like they don't have it, no? So they don't have much for me either. But I will say, Giants are favored by 4 on the road. Last meeting, 2020, Folks, everybody remembers the game where Patrick Graham broke Seattle. Giants were in first place riding high with the Joe Judge-led team. And you know what? We're just spewing stuff on the show last night.
Yeah.
Or tonight, I should say. Joe Judge would have never left Daniel Jones in there to try that late. Just saying. People are putting hot takes this week out and throwing clickbait out there. That's my clickbait. What Brian Dable did on Sunday, Joe Judge would have never done that.
I mean, but it's true. Why
Dable's
was he still in the game?
Superior coach, obviously, but
why was he still in the game though?
I don't know. He wanted a spark, but in shitty weather, a left tackle who's dealing with a hamstring injury. He's getting drilled every play. It's one thing if you're down 40-0 and you're not getting hit every play and you want to get more reps in there. That's fine. I'm not going to bash him for it, but I disagree with him for it.
Yeah.
If Jones got hurt, it would have looked a lot worse. He's lucky he didn't. He's very lucky he came out of that game with a clean bill of health. He's very fortunate. With
the rain and the turf or the artificial grass, whatever, which we didn't even talk about really.
No.
Was the state of the field and how it's just set ablaze the internet. But actually, I was just remembering the last time I remember when we played Seattle 3 years ago and we won. And I remember that week on my podcast, I had Chris Guzzo, the entertainer, on, and we were both like, we're gonna beat the Cardinals. Like, we're riding a high right now. We're gonna beat the Cardinals. And then we went into that game and it was just awful. Just horrible.
Yep, that was the Arizona game. Cardinals have won 4 straight meetings against the Giants, dating back to 2011. That's when the Giants last beat the Cardinals 31-27. Little Victor Cruz game for you there, number 80. That's who I'm donning tonight. Giants lead the all-time series. It's crazy. A lot of people forget this, Sam. Before the divisional realignment in 2002, folks, the Cardinals were in the NFC East.
Oh my God, that's right.
So the Giants have a lot of games against this team. They're 80-46-2 all time against the Cardinals. Will Hernandez revenge game for Arizona. Isaiah Simmons revenge game for New York. Obviously, the Giants got Isaiah Simmons. And I'll say this. You were mentioning about Josh Dobbs before, Sam. He didn't look too bad last week, but he's having a lot of similar issues that we are. He lost 2 fumbles. His offensive line is not good at all. And he got sacked 3 times. But what they did do well is run the football. James Conner looked good, averaged 4.5 yards a carry. And they only lost by 4. So it's definitely
better than us.
That is better than us. He kept Jones in the game because he was embarrassed, and rightfully so. He and his staff didn't have this team prepared. Embarrassed as a coach to go from DJ to Tyrod Taylor. Again, this is another good point. I somewhat agree with you here on this, Robert. I do see Brian Dable's argument for keeping him in the game. I do. My argument against Brian Dable is he's getting hit every single freaking play, and I don't want to lose him for the rest of the season. I'm not going out there and saying, oh my God, Dable, put him on the hot seat. No, that's delusional. That's delusional. I would be shocked, like utterly shocked, if Dable's not coaching this team in 2024. He will be. I'll say that.
Yeah, there's no way.
Okay. There's absolutely no way Joe Shane does anything there with that. It was one game. It's such an overreaction with New York fans.
It is. But that's like because we only have that one game. So we're like gonna be like, wow. And I think what it was too was if this happened during like the 1 o'clock slate, it would be still bad. But like everybody was watching this game. Like during the 1 o'clock slate, there are obviously people who aren't watching. They're watching other games, or they're watching Red Zone, so they're not catching every play. So the fact that it was on national television on Sunday Night Football, the first Sunday night game of the year, that's where the embarrassment lies. Is that it was like everybody saw it, and that's what makes me, I think, as angry as I am.
I'm with you. Everyone saw it. That's what really sucks. But this is an Isaiah Simmons revenge game. Sam, before we get into our keys of the game, any little fun facts or any general thoughts you want to add before we really dissect the Giants' path to victory on Sunday, or how they can get there?
I think we're just ready to hop in and see where we're at with the Cardinals, because at this point, now that we're done talking about week 1, I don't want to talk about week 1 at all. But I think Isaiah Simmons will probably have a little bit of fun at this game, but I can't imagine it being like this crazy revenge game.
Yeah, no, I'm with you 100%. So I guess I'm just very passionate about this key, so I'm just going to reveal this right off the bat. Protect Daniel Jones. Just protect Daniel Jones, okay? The Giants' O-line, 7 sacks. Worst offensive line performance, folks, since I started watching this team in late 2002, okay? And I saw Trey Junkin with a bad snap, okay? I saw all that happen. I saw the terrible protection that Kerry Collins got up front. It was not as bad as what we saw on full display Sunday night. It was horrible. It was horrible. We might have a new starting left tackle this week. And now Andrew Thomas did practice on a limited basis today, but I don't expect him to play Sunday. Josh Zudu, 275 snaps at left tackle in his final year at UNC. Also played 124 snaps at right tackle in 2020. Again, Cardinals defense had 6 sacks last week, so I am very concerned about that. Sam Howell was pressured on 53% of his pass attempts. Robert's going to say, they can't row, they suck. Well, you're right. You're right. But it's my job to provide people hope at the same time being transparent with you. And right now they suck. But they might not get exposed as much this week. So,
yeah,
you know.
I agree.
Yeah. What is your first key to the game against Arizona?
Against Arizona, just the fact that, like I said, it's not the Cowboys defense, it's the Cardinals defense. So this is not going to be, I'd like to think, as bad. But, if we can nickel and dime down the field, if we can get, a 7-yard pass, a 4-yard run, just make your way down in terms of that, I have a feeling we get on the board a lot more than what we think we will be. Work with this team, work with the weaknesses of this defense to get points on the board, because if we just keep getting down the field and kicking field goals, well, that'll be great for my fantasy team because I have Graham Gano. It's not going to be good for the Giants as a whole. I would just genuinely just find the weaknesses, work with it, get down the field, score points, because the defense could be amazing this entire game. And I have a feeling it will be, we're going to see a great defense this weekend. But offensively, that's the struggle, that's where we need them the most, because they have to score the points. So I would say just don't go crazy, Daniel Jones. Don't get in your head. Don't feel like you need to make these amazing plays. Don't run 87 yards unless you can. Just do what you got to do, just get down the field and score points. Don't make it a show. Just win a game. Please. For my mental state, I would appreciate it very much.
In other words, key to the game, win.
Yeah.
Be Giants.
But mostly, don't be crazy. We don't need these big, giant things to happen. We just need just your little plays here and there. Get Saquon. He can run as much as he possibly can.
Giants fan since 1956. Wow. Yeah, it's a very long time, Robert. Yeah, I mean, seeing it through and through, Bobby Johnson's got to go. If I'm Dable, I talked to Shane about firing him. before we get into more divisional games because this is bad. I mean, if it was up to me, I'd let them go right now. Just win and get out of the game healthy and safe. Saquon will also have a good game if we get him going early. They're going to run the ball 40 times on Sunday. They're going to run the ball 40 times and play good defense, you know?
Yeah. That's it.
Barkley, no Andrew Thomas. They're not capable of getting the ball down the field, and they have to win the turnover battle too. That's another thing. They have to win the turnover battle. I think Hodgins had a fumble last week, so going up against the Cardinals defense, guys like Dennis Gardeck, Zaven Collins, Budda Baker too. Budda Baker is probably the best player on that team.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he's very good. Plays next to another safety in Kevon Wallace, who we know very well, former Philadelphia Eagle. I expect to see Isaiah Simmons exploited a lot more, though. Try to pressure Josh Dobbs. I think another thing too, Sam, I want to see what Wink can do with Kayvon and Simmons on the field at the same time. I don't think we saw enough of that last week. I know Azeez a little banged up right now. So if you can get the three of them on the field together at the same time, I would love to see that, personally.
I feel like that would mean some pretty serious business, right? Like, and again, I'm not going into this game anticipating like a blowout win, but like we could kind of work with it a little bit in this game with with the Cardinals being the team that they are. I would love to see that, honestly. I want more Isaiah Simmons. I want to see more of Isaiah Simmons because I feel like his potential has not been unlocked yet.
I agree. I do agree. I would like to see more of Isaiah Simmons, and I think he's one of my players to watch on Sunday. He knows this offense through and through, going up against it in practice. Can get creative in some blitz packages. He can step back into coverage. He can help out the linebackers, Dexter Lawrence as well. I really think he's going to be an X factor, Sam, as far as getting to the quarterback in Josh Dobbs, who he's not super mobile compared to their previous quarterback, Kyler Murray. So I'm intrigued to see what happens as far as that goes. So I think that should be fairly interesting. And will Deonte Banks play 100%? That's another question too. I got my eyes on him going up against Hollywood Brown, Rondale Moore. The Cardinals don't have DoorDash wide receivers. They have respectable, legitimate wide receivers on their roster.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But
Ertz too. We can't cover Zach Ertz.
Well, yeah, he's a tight end. They haven't figured that out yet. But Zach Ertz really didn't look like I didn't see a lot from Zach Ertz either, on the Cardinal side. But my Giants player to watch, I would say, is Saquon, because like we said, they're going to be running the ball like nobody's business on Sunday. And then I also want to keep my eye on Evan Neal and just see if we're going to go into this game and if there's any sort of light that he has done any better since last year, and my concerns are going to start to set in even more than they already are, because I want to see him develop. I want to see his ability to be a right tackle get better. And if we're not seeing that against the Cardinals, then I have a feeling it's not going to be a lot this season. And I don't want to wait till next season or next off season. That's so far away. So we'll see what happens.
Changes have to be made, for sure. We have an argument going on in the comments section, but more of a discussion. But I do agree with you, Robert. You got to face the problem and you got to deal with it. Beating a dead horse is one thing, but again, it's just they played bad. Whoever this Fuquay Steve guy is, they played bad. I'm sorry you feel this way, but they played bad. Like, do you not expect us to call that out? We can't be, 100% biased here. We have to be real. There's a real chance they could lose to Arizona this week. And everyone's on notice, even the coaches. even the premier skill position players, there's a real chance they lose this game. I don't think they do, but there is a chance. There's a chance every week, but the reason why I think there's a real good chance, folks, for the Giants to bounce back, Sam, and I think what I'm going to talk about here is Daniel Jones coming off a loss. He is great. A 7-1-1 record, 69.8% completion percentage. He throws the ball well, turnover free, and I want to go over this. 9 touchdowns to no picks coming off a loss in his last 9 games. Wow. Over a 100 rating and 4 touchdowns. So if you do the math, that's 13 total touchdowns and no turnovers. That includes no fumbles lost, by the way. So I got my eyes on him.
Yeah. I didn't realize that stat was as strong as it was. And I've been talking about how much I don't think the Giants are going to win next week, but it's a pretty strong stat.
Yeah.
And
it is a strong stat.
As someone who really thinks Daniel Jones can be that guy, if Daniel Jones is our savior this weekend, I'd be okay with that.
And Saquon has to run the ball all over. 1,300 yards last year. How's he going to perform? Some contract disputes in the offseason. Was solid last week when he was used. He couldn't be used much because we were down by so much. That's what sucks about losing this bad. They couldn't use Waller much. Barkley, Jones was all over. He couldn't display, his skills and his playbook in the offense. They couldn't operate. They didn't have time to make plays.
Yeah.
But Sam, who for the Cardinals do you think could cause the Giants some problems? Because I think I might know. I'm not going to assume, but I think this is me trying to talk you out of some things for our last segment of the show, but it's okay if I don't. Who do you have your eye on Arizona saying, yeah, the Giants are going to have a lot of issues with him?
I feel like their strongest player, like we mentioned before, it right now I feel like falls on James Conner. Like I feel like their run is something that was really carrying them last week. Josh Dobbs as well, like I said, played as good as he could have as a backup quarterback. But James Conner is he's someone that we should be familiar with at this point too. So preparing for that should be, you would think, like pretty textbook. But also at the end of the day, who knows? That far run defense just kind of falls apart because we've had struggles with that in the past.
Yeah. It looked better on Sunday night, though.
Yeah.
I know Pollard had a few breakthroughs, but when the starters were in there, it looked good. Zaven Collins, another guy that scares me too. Transitioning to edge. Remember when he got drafted? Yeah, I thought he got drafted early. And
funny enough, Jordan and I were really high on Zaven Collins. And when he got drafted when he did, we thought it was very we thought that he would, that's where he belonged, because a lot of people weren't as high up on him. But yeah, he's scary, incredibly scary, and I would be concerned about that.
And if Andrew Thomas doesn't play, he'll be going against Josh Azudu. So I'm not
ideal.
Very confident in that. I got my eye on the entire Giants offensive line. I just mentioned Josh Azudu. Will Glowinski hold on to his starting job, which is probably in jeopardy right now. Not probably, definitely. Evan Neal, as you mentioned. Yep. I want to see what Micah McFadden can do as well, because I thought he was one of the few Giants that actually played well on Sunday night. Yeah, he missed a play here and there, but everybody had their moments. He's a really good tackling technician. We've always known that. 79.9 tackle grade according to PFF. And, for those who maybe might not like the numbers and want to see more of film, go back and watch the highlights if you can. I mean, they show a couple of his plays in there, and he made some really nice coverage plays against Dallas. He didn't get too many opportunities, but he also had a couple of good tackles, one in the backfield. So I'm still very high on him. I was never big on the Darian Beavers hype train, only because coming off the injury, I didn't think he would start. And right now, he's on the practice squad still. So maybe he's a guy that could elevate at some point. I hope he does. We still have him, thankfully, but we'll have to see. Anybody else? I think we covered all the bases, honestly. Cardinals don't have many good players on their team.
Yeah, I would think so.
They do have Kaiser White. Yeah, their offensive line is not good. So next up, let's talk about the injury report. Obviously, the Cardinals have James Conner dealing with a calf issue. We don't know if Wan'Dale's going to play this week. I would like to see him play. I know he's limited.
Huh.
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
It would be.
I would like to see that.
Yeah. We really need him. And we really need Andrew Thomas. We need Andrew Thomas more than anybody. I'll be straight. But if he doesn't play, we got to figure it out. And Matt Hurt's hurt too. So that sucks. Not that he's good, but that was depth. If we have any depth on this roster, he was it.
Mm-hmm.
He's not coming out. Cordell Flott hurt. Deontay Banks, calf issue. He should play. I wrote him twice for some reason. Graham Gano's hurt. I really hope special teams plays better. Not him. I know he'll play better, but I'm talking about guys like Casey Kreider had a couple bad snaps. Jamie Gillen always booms punts. He never tries to down them. He did play well on Sunday. He had some booming punts. Remember, we were pinned deep in our own territory, Sam, and Gillen just like punting them back to like the Dallas 30, punting them like 60-plus yards. I thought that was very impressive.
He's gotten better.
Player of the week. He has.
He was a pain in our side last year for a while.
Yes, he was. We did not like him, or I didn't like him at the beginning. And now he's growing on me a little bit. I still don't think he's a great NFL punter, but he's not one of the worst. And now it's about that time to get into our game predictions. Before we get there, I just want to reveal this. Darren Waller announced he will play, folks. If you're just joining us, he's going to play. Andrew Thomas is in doubt, though. Don't expect him out there. So there's that. Game predictions. I'm nervous to ask you. I won't be offended if you pick Arizona. I won't. Who do you got?
Again, I haven't seen what I've wanted to see yet. And I'd like to think, too, that not picking the Giants will make things better. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, I don't jinx it. Because if you guys watched last week, I literally was just like, this is a winnable game. Like, no problem. Like, I was not worried about it. Even if we did lose, I was anticipating a very good game. And it just didn't happen. And I feel like they need to prove to me that they're going to play the way I think they're going to play, or at least better. Anything could be better than Sunday. That's the thing. Anything's better than Sunday. So I'm going to go Arizona. But only because I need to see them actually performing well and actually putting their heart into the game too. I mean, I was seeing just defeat, just immediate defeat before the second quarter even started. So I'm going to go Arizona. I'm going to go something very low, probably like 13-10. I don't think it's going to be a big blowout of a game. So unfortunately, don't come at me for not picking the Giants, but I'm just that's how I'm feeling right now.
Fair. It's very fair. I hate to say that, but it's very fair. Yeah, I could see it being a 13-10 type of game. Giants and Cardinals run the ball a lot. They don't try to expose the porous offensive line as much. Cardinals want to protect Josh Dobbs. Um, yeah, I really don't think this is going to be a great game. This is going to be one of the lesser games of the week, although we've seen miraculous things happen in the past.
Sure.
I have the Giants winning. Final
Okay.
score 17-13. I think the Giants only give up one touchdown. Their defense, solid for the most part against Dallas. They had their bad moments, but I expect them to improve, get better. I think Kayvon Thibodeau is going to have a better game. I think the Giants are going to win, but only by 4 points. A lot of people think the Giants are going to win by multiple possessions. I don't know if they're equipped for that without Andrew Thomas. I'm going into this with the assumption that Andrew Thomas is not playing. I think if Andrew Thomas plays, the Giants could score above 20 points on this Arizona team. But right now, he's not going to play. I hate to say it. He's done. He's out this week, and he's probably out on Thursday Night Football against San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my opinion, best case scenario, you have him back week 4. And I think that's when he will return. It's not a long-term issue. So I think he'll be back week 4. Giants 17-13. Daniel Jones throws one touchdown pass. Barkley gets a rushing touchdown. And Gano hits a field goal. 17-13.
I hope you're
That's
right.
our predictions, folks. Yeah, we have a split down the middle this week. Yeah, it's definitely been great talking with you all tonight, getting some of the juice out. I want to rip them some more, but I know we're past that at this point. It's so bad.
It's time to just look forward to Arizona.
Yeah, absolutely. Time to move on. Arizona Cardinals on deck. Folks, hope you enjoy some Thursday Night Football coming up here shortly.
Yep.
Sam, any final additional thoughts? I know you're pretty much checked out with this Giants team right now. So
listen, my mood and my feelings toward them can easily be shifted. I just need to see just good football, even if they lose on Sunday. I just want to see the good football that we have been working for all offseason, because we have worked very hard and we have drafted well and we've done free agency well. And I just want to see it pan out for once. I want to see us reap the benefits of our good choices. So that's what I'm looking for.
Absolutely, folks. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. I really appreciate it. And I would like to remind everybody that next week we will likely be sticking with Wednesdays for a while now due to scheduling. We can't guarantee that every single week, but it's most likely going to be on Wednesdays. On behalf of Sam Cardona, I'm Tom Scavetta. Check us out on all of our social media. Appreciate you all tuning in. And without further ado, let's go Big Blue.